Hi, and welcome to Geeks for Geeks. So, can I have a quick one in the chat if you are attending? Okay, let me just say quickly. So, today, after a long period of time, we are going live with this PODD thing. So, what I would do is on the stream where I would be the mentor, I won't be taking much of ads, rather, I would just do a countdown and then I directly start. So, if you are seeing me as the mentor, consider joining it on point. Okay, fair enough. We have Bipul, we have Jatin, we have randomly asked, and we have Vishal. So before we start, let me introduce myself. Hi and good evening, everyone. I'm Siddharth Hazra. Currently, I'm an SD intern at Geeks for Geeks and a candidate master at Code Courses. So without any further ado, let us start with today's problem. So I assume that you have already read the problem. Okay. So I assume that you have already read the problem. Still, I would just brief out the problem so that any misunderstanding while reading the problem statement can be skipped. Okay. Fair enough. We have this. So in this problem, we are given an array. Okay. First, we are given an array. We are given an array of elements. Okay. And then each element, okay, each element has even occurrence. What do you mean by even occurrence? That when divided by 2, the remainder would be equal to 0. Okay. The next thing is there is an exception like chemistry that is present. And there is not just one exception. The exceptions are two. The two exceptions are that there are two elements which have odd occurrence. Okay. So if you just observe, as the even occurrence means that each element would be present two times, and odd occurrence means that suppose we can just simply ignore that. Suppose odd occurrence, what are the odd occurrence? What do you mean by odd? The odd values can be 1, the odd values can be 3, the odd values can be 5. So we can take into consideration that here each element, okay, each element has two occurrence, okay, and except two elements which have one occurrence. Okay, I hope I make sense. That suppose एक array दिया गया है जहां पे बहुत सारे elements है, सारे elements दो बार है, सिर्फ एक element, दो element एक एक बार है. Okay, and how do we went from even to just one or two? Okay, this is because if the number is 3, then the initial two occurrence would be counted in the even one and the last one would be remaining. Okay, like 3 पे एक रह जाएगा, दो even occurrence में चल गया, 5 में दो दो and then one odd occurrence में चल गया. Okay, that is why we can say this. Now, the very first way to solve this problem is that we are talking about the occurrence. So what we can do is the brute force approach to this problem would be just count the occurrence. Okay, we can count the occurrence. Now if we want to count the occurrence, that means we need to remember the occurrence at the end. So at the end, if we need to remember something, then the first thing that should hit in our mind is that this is a question of a hash map. Okay, so now what we can do is we can hash all the values at the end, the elements which have odd occurrence, that means modulo 2 is equals to 1, then we can say that yes, these are the elements that is there. Now, do I make sense? Now, what would be the time complexity of this approach? The time complexity of this approach is, if you are using unordered map, the time complexity would be big O of n, okay, and the space complexity would also be big O of n because the elements are stored in the hash map itself. Now, the worst time complexity of unordered map is still big O of n. So what you can do is, if the number of elements are quite late and the range of elements are less, then what you can do is you can hash it in the array indexes. Even it is greater, if the range is small, then you can even do it. Do I make sense? Just give me a quick one in the chat. Just give me a quick one and then we would move forward. Quickly, Shikhawat, Yash Dwivedi, Gauri, Vishal, Jatin, and Vipul. Either of them, give me a quick one. Do I make sense? Hi Shikhawat, how are you? Hi Gauri. So give me a quick one in the chat if I make sense. Okay, I make sense. So this was the very first brute force approach, and I think that hashing and just counting the occurrence, you can do it, and you are not here for this solution. So I won't implement it. I have thoroughly explained you. It can be done. Okay. So as no understanding of brute force is left, let us now try to optimize it. Okay. Now to optimize it, let us do one thing. Let us take the सैंपल टेस्ट केस ओके क्योंकि हम लोग सैंपल टेस्ट केस पे ही एक्सपेरिमेंट करते हैं ओके fair enough now let us have this yes okay so now we have the elements okay so let me just see it so we have here as 4 so the binary representation of 4 is 2 to the power 0 2 to the power 1 2 to the power 2 2 to the power 2 so 1 0 0 rest all values would be 0 next so let's have the matrix one okay so 1 0 0 okay this is 2 to the power 0 this is 2 to the power 1 this is 2 to the power 2 this is 2 to the power 3 this is 2 to the power 4 we don't need further so now the next element is 2 which is 2 to the power 1 and less all values would be 0 next element is again 4 where the numbers are 1 0 0 the next element is 4 2 4 and then 5 then 2 then 3 then 3 and then 1 itself okay then 1 itself now the next thing is that we need to do is 5 5 means 4 that is 2 to the power 2 and 2 to the power 1 that is 2 to the power 0 2 to the power 0 is equals to 1 that means 101 2 means 1 0 2 to the power 1 3 means 2 to the power 1 plus 1 3 means again 2 to the power 1 and 1 means 2 to the power 0 okay we have this now let's fill the remaining places with 0 now if you see this problem you would see a pattern in this problem okay the pattern is that the values are getting even okay so now whenever we are talking about the bit representation okay so now there are two perspectives of you either you have solved a problem where you are asked a question that every number has even occurrence one number has odd occurrence either you have solved up this problem and then you came to this problem okay because this is the level 2 of that problem else you don't know about this problem if you don't know about this problem then this coming to this bit thing is not intuitive you need to remember that yes this kind of thing is present now how do I make it intuitive this thing becomes intuitive if you already know the properties of zor and what are the properties of zor okay I would tell you some zor properties that needs to be remembered is that x zor x is equals to 0 and 0 zor x is equals to x. How does this happen? This happens because if two bits are different, if two bits are different, then the value is 1. If two bits are same, then this value is 0. Now let's take any value and let us see if this is how this is true. So let us take the consideration that let's say 5 zor 5. Okay, what was the value of 5? 101. So 101 zor 101. Same 0, same 0, same 0. That is why the value is 0. So the first property is proved. The next property, how this is true. So see, suppose we have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Let's take again, let's say 5 only. Okay, 1, 0, 1. So the value here would be different 1, same 0, different 1. So that is why 1, 1, 1. So now if you see, that is why both the properties are now fulfilled and proved. So now if you see this, suppose there are two bits that are getting each, so we know that each number has a unique representation in the form of bits. We know this. Now if you see that if a bit has two occurrences, then the value is 0. If the bit has 4 occurrences, then the value is again 0. Okay, this is 5 occurrence, we would remove 1 occurrence. Yes. So now if you can say that if the number of bits is even, number of set bits is even, or the number of unset bits is even, then the value is 0. Okay, if odd, then the value is 1. Because suppose this 1, 1, 1. So 1 XOR 1 is equals to 0. 0 XOR 1 is again 1. And if this was 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 XOR 1, 0, 0 XOR 1, 1, 1 XOR 1 is equals to again 0. So we can say by this that if the bits are in even count, then the value is 0. If the bits are in odd count, then the value is 1. Now, if you know this property of XOR, this thing becomes intuitive because we are only handling the case of even and odd. Okay, we need to just segregate that. Now, this intuition thing, now we know that the solution is driven by this bit manipulation or something. We know this. But coming from the fact from hash map to this bit, is the transition now smooth or not? Either you should know this property, or either you have solved that previous question that all elements have even occurrence, only one element has odd occurrence. Okay, here we have a modification, two elements have odd occurrence. You have solved that problem, or you already know this thing property. Now this becomes intuitive or not? Just give me a quick one, because the intuition is absolutely very important. Just give me a quick one. Generally, at what size we decide to use array instead of hash map? So basically what we do is, just give me a quick one if the intuition is clear. While then I'm repeating, okay? So see, so what size we should decide? The size shouldn't decide, the range should decide, because there is a thing known as that. Suppose even if we can make an array of size 100, then we can have something, that algorithm, can anyone name that algorithm? Okay, that we can even have outer range. So if the range of the values is more than 10 to the power, we don't take it generally. If the range is less than 10 to the power or equal to 10 to the power 5, then we did it. Okay, if the count is odd but the set bits, if the count is odd but the set bits are 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Yes, absolutely. This would be true. Okay. But this XOR thing, yes, this problem can be solved using XOR. This thing, if you know this property, or if you have solved that question, this is intuitive or not. Okay. This is my question. Okay. Question at what side? Okay, yeah. Okay. Fair enough. We can move forward. Okay. So now the very next thing that we need to move forward. Okay, have I cleared the? Yes, I have cleared the comment thing. Okay. So now let us see that we are dealing with XOR. Okay. So let us try to first see when we have only one element. So when we have only one element, like suppose we have only 4, 4, 2, 5, 5, 3, 1. Okay. What are the elements? The elements are 5 and 1. 5 and 1. So let's suppose we are removing this. Okay, at first let us just remove this. Let us see that question and then we would see this question. So now 5 is removed. That means now we need to find one number which has odd occurrence. Rest all numbers have even occurrence. How we find it? So this is also an interview question. Okay, this what we can do is we can simply take out the XOR value. How we can take out the XOR value? 0 XOR 0, same 0. Okay, 0 XOR 0 0. Okay, till this 0. 0 XOR 0, again 0. Okay, 0 XOR 1 is equals to 1. 1 XOR 0, okay, is also equals to 1. Okay, and then 1 XOR 1 is equals to 0 because it is same, and then 0 XOR 1 is equals to 1 because it is different. So we have 1 here. Now what we can have is 0 XOR 1 is equals to 1. 1 XOR 0 is equals to 1. Okay, 1 XOR 0 is now again equal to 1. Okay, 1 XOR 1 is equals to 0. 0 XOR 1 is equals to 1. 1 XOR 1 is equals to 1. 1 XOR 1 is equals to 0. Last one, 1 XOR 1 is equals to 0. So we would have this. Now, 1 XOR 0, different 1. Okay. Then 1 XOR 1 is equals to 0. Okay. 0 XOR 1 is equals to 1. 1 XOR 0 is equals to 1. 1 XOR 0 is equals to 1. 1 XOR 0 is again equals to 1. And again 1 XOR 0 is again equals to 1. So now we can see that we have found out the number which has odd occurrence, and rest all the numbers. Okay, this is 101 is what? 5, and this was the number to be found out. So if there was only one number, we can easily find out by doing the XOR of all the elements that is present. That is why I said that if it is given, okay, if it is given that there is only one element that is present, you can simply do a XOR of all the elements. Okay, fair enough. Is this question clear? Okay, like if there is only one element that is present in the array, give me a quick one, and then we will move forward. Quick one. Sir, can't we solve without XOR? Yes, you can do it by using hash map, and the time complexity would remain the same, but the space complexity would be go off then. But suppose the interviewer would ask you that can you do this without extra space, then okay, then you would fall into this problem. Okay, hello Adarsh, how are you? Okay, so just tell me the quality of the video of mine that is down on your side, okay? Because I have upgraded the streaming thing. Now the video quality is not streamed from my laptop, okay? It is streamed from the phone itself, okay? Due to the new feature of the MacBook, the new, just let me see. Okay. Mhm. Okay, fair enough. Now, let us go the next one. So now suppose if we do the whole XOR. So now we know that question, we know the property. Now let us do one thing. Let us do the XOR of all the elements. Okay, XOR of all the elements would be 0. How many times 0 is present? 0 is present 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 0, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 1. So 4 times 4 zeros. Okay, 4 zeros and 4 ones. Okay, so this just means that if the number of any both are occurrences same, let's suppose 0 and 1, 1 0 is equals to 1. Okay, so now let us just see how this is going off. So 0 XOR 0 is equals to 0. 0 XOR 0, same 0. 0 XOR 1, okay, 0 XOR 1 is equals to 1. 1 XOR 0, okay, 1 XOR 0 is equal to 1 XOR 0 is, okay, we have already done till this point now. Acha, acha, okay. Why to do it again? Okay, we already know that till this point this is 1, and this is 0, and this is 1. So 1 XOR 1, okay, 1 XOR 1, the value would be 0. 0 XOR 0 XOR 0 is equals to 0, and 1 XOR 0 is equals to 1. So this means that the value is 4. Okay, 2 to the power 2. So we are getting a value 4, okay, and this is not equal to neither 1 nor 5, okay. So this is not providing us any answer. But as we are doing everything in the terms of bets, let us try to see how this thing is helping us. So if you just observe, 4 is nothing but 5 XOR 1. We did here till 5, 5 XOR 1. Okay, 5 XOR 1, yes, 5 XOR 1 is equals to 4. How? I would just show you this. So 5 is equals to 1 0 1. 5 XOR 1 is equals to 0 0 1. Okay, same 0, different 1. That is why the value is 4. Okay, so the 5 XOR 1 is equals to 4. And also the XOR of all the elements is equal to the value 4. Okay, so now we can say from all of this that XOR of all elements is equal to some value, suppose x. Okay, or suppose let's take a value val. Okay, or let's write it in the different line or different color, val. Okay, now x XOR y is also equal to val. So as you can see, we have got two equation kind of thing. Do I make sense? Okay, do I make sense? So now moving forward to this, how can we segregate this? Okay, how can we segregate this? So 1 XOR 1, let us see what was the value of 5. So this was, so the value at 4, if the value at 4 something here is 1, then that means that the bit is different in x and y, because different 1 same 0. So if in the resultant value the bit is set, that means the upper two values has different bits. Like this is 1, this is 0. If these are same, then the value is 0. If these is different, then the value is 1. Am I clear till this point? Just give me a quick 1. Okay, till then I'm just replying the chats. Okay. Mm. You also looking cool. Okay, I don't look that good. I was just talking about the picture quality. Okay, fine bro. एप्पल कैमरा लगा है ना, आप ओपी वीडियो दिख रहा है, एप्पल का कैमरा नहीं लगा है, आईफोन वाली है. Okay. Sir, first time we found out our 5. How come after 5 and 1? Because first we removed that 1 and we were solving the question. Okay, we were solving the question where there was only one element with odd. Okay, one earlier there was two elements. In this question, we are given two elements. But we first solved the question where only one element was there with odd occurrence. We removed this one only. After then, we saw what would happen if we add this one. Okay, let me just block this person. Okay, fair enough. How did we apply for internship at Geeks for Geeks? You can apply to the career portal. If you want a referral, feel free to do a DM me on the LinkedIn itself. Okay. Madhu Vlogs. Can you quickly? Okay, Madhu Vlogs is clear now. I thought you were giving 0 because you are not understanding it. Zor removes the duplicates. Yes, absolutely. श्योर ब्रदर श्योर. अभी मैं घर से काफी दूर हूँ, काफी दूर. Okay, fair enough. So now we can see that the elements are different. Okay, the elements are different. So now what I can say is that I can just have the last bit set. Okay, suppose this bit is set, this bit is set. Now 5 would have a bit, like suppose there is x and y. If there is x and y, so what I can say, there are two values x and y, and we know x and y. Okay, and we know that the bits are different at 1. So now what I can say is I would build out the mask of this number. Mask matlab kya? Let us take from the very zero. Like suppose you don't know anything. Mask matlab kya hoga? The thing known as mask is mask of the rightmost set bit. Mask of rightmost set bit means what? That every bit would be unset except the rightmost bit. What do I mean by this? Okay. What I ask is mask of rightmost set bit. Okay. Mask of rightmost set bit means what? Let's suppose we have 5. The value is 101. So we need something like last bit would be set and everything else would be 0. This is what I ask you. Why do I? First thing is, this is the meaning of rightmost set bit. This is mask of rightmost set bit means this. Okay, first this is the thing. Now, the next thing is, why do I ask this? I ask you this because we have here x and y. Now, this bit would be set in either x or y. Okay, suppose this bit is set in x, so this other bit would be unset in y. So this marks thing would allow us to segregate this x and y. So see, what I'm trying to say is the rightmost set bit is the thing that is allowing us to differentiate between x and y. So we take out a mask of rightmost set bit, and then if we do the AND operation, then one bit the rightmost set bit would be turned off, and in one either x or y rightmost set would be turned off. लेट अस समराइज एवरीथिंग इन हिंदी. सो मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि मैं ये बोलना चाह रहा हूं कि पहले जो 1 आ रही है ना, इसका मतलब वो बिट डिफरेंट है. तो वो बिट डिफरेंट वाली चीज ही हमें एक्स और वाई को अलग करने की हेल्प करेगी. लाइक मैं एग्जांपल बताता हूं. अगर मैं समझो कि मुझे मुझे पता है कि लेट्स सपोज भिंडी और आलू. सो भिंडी और आलू मुझे सेम लगते हैं, मगर उसमें डिफरेंशिएटिंग फैक्टर क्या है? एक लंबा होता है, एक गोल होता है. Okay, so differentiating factor is the shape itself. So we would use the shape to differentiate between them. In the same manner, if we know that at point where the bit is set, it is a differentiating factor between x and y, we would take advantage of that and we would try to differentiate it. Okay, do I make sense? And what do you mean by mask? Let me just, everything is told in English, let me summarize that in Hindi. ओके मैं ये बोलना चाह रहा हूँ कि मास्क मतलब क्या? जो लास्ट वाली बिट जो सेट होती है ना, मतलब जिसकी वैल्यू 1 होती है, वो वाली वैल्यू इंटैक्ट रहेगी, बाकी सारी वैल्यूज 0 रहेगी. आपको यहां तक, आर यू हियर विथ मी टिल दिस पॉइंट? आफ्टर दिस पॉइंट दिस क्वेश्चन इज वेरी इजी, but are you able to understand till this point or not? Give me a quick one in the chat. Give me a quick one. Just give me a quick one. Others, okay, others done. One more, and I will move forward. No much delay in the StreamYard thing. Like StreamYard does not have any delay or thing. OBS has some delay. Can we set the bit mask for any set bit, or should we rightmost set bit? Okay, so we can set it for any set bit. We can do it. Okay, any set bit को set कर लो, आपका काम हो जाएगा. Okay, कोई भी set bit को set bit कर लो. I'm not telling that only rightmost would work. Why I am talking about rightmost set bit? Because that is also a reason out there. Okay, because I want to sum up the concepts. I want you to take a lot of concepts from this question. The main agenda of this problem or this POTD is not just to driving towards the solution of this problem. I just want you to optimize it as max as possible. Can we repeat this part again? Yes, absolutely, we can repeat this part again. So what I'm trying to say is, we know that in the resultant value x or y, the values where the bit is 1, that is a differentiating factor. So what we would do is, we would make use of that, and we would just have a number where any of the set bits in the value is set, other all values are 0. Okay. Now we would use this thing. Kth bit is set में use करते हैं masking. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So now what you can do is, you can do either of the ways. The very first way is, you can set any of the bits. Any of the bits, like suppose there are k bits set. Okay, k is bit set. You can set any of the bit and you can use it. Okay. But setting any of the set bits, what do you need to do is, you need to iterate over the number by logging. Okay, suppose we have the number as, suppose very large 2's value, like suppose 8. So if the value is 8, then the value would be 2 to the power 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3. So if the value is 1 and you are iterating from the back, then you can see that at the last point you would get this. So I can see the time complexity of setting any of the bit is log base to n. Okay. But if the question is asking us to set any of the bits and unset either of the bits, all other bits, what we need to do is, we need to do a mask of rightmost set bit. And to find the mask of rightmost set bit, okay, we have a constant operation. We don't really need to do log base to n. That is why I'm just asking you to do this. So you can read about it, that mask of rightmost set bit, that is x x's r s b, rightmost set bit is nothing but x and x and minus x. Okay, or you can say that x and 2's complement of x. Okay, tilde x thing. Okay, fair enough. So this is was the thing. So now we would simply do this. Okay. Okay. So you can see about it, how to get x RSB, and this x thing RSB, rightmost set bit, mask of rightmost set bit, is absolutely a very important concept in BIS masking. And to produce it at constant time, it is very important in terms of DSA. And rightmost set bit can also be done by simply iterating over the value till the value. So that would, the time complexity would that be log base to n. But if you are using this formula, then this is absolutely a constant value. So if you are using this, suppose you are using this won't make a lot of difference in terms of online judge. But if you're using this in an interview, and if the interviewer is asking you, then it might be a scenario that he is asking you to optimize over this. Okay, and the next use case of this rightmost set bit thing is that it plays as a very small building block to solve the bit masking problems. Am I clear? Miss, why I'm talking about mask of rightmost set bit? To give you this thing. Okay. Quickly give me a one if things are clear to you or not. कोई भी बिट सेट करते हैं, what I want to say is, कोई भी बिट सेट करते हैं, कोई भी बिट सेट कर सकते हैं. Okay, that is why what we can do is, we would talk about mask of rightmost set bit. Okay, fair enough. This is what we are asking. Now quickly give me a one and it would be done. Okay, bro, case one home test case. Okay, it's okay, whatever be the thing. Okay, my explanation should be correct. I'm a human. I might make errors. Okay, like while writing or while doing something. I am not concerned about that. I'm not using any PPT to remove those errors. I am not in a race to that. I'm doing everything from scratch. It might be a scenario that I'm explaining, keeping cautious that everyone is viewing me. So I make mistakes, and it is normal, and I do accept it with open hands. I try to minimize it, but I can only minimize it to a certain level. Okay, now negative x and negative x gives us the value of what is this? 2's complement. In the same manner, what you can do is x and tilde x is what? X complement, and x 2's complemented was x complement plus 1. That is what? X 2's complement. You can read about it. This is a knowledge, but simply understand that to get x mask of rightmost set bit, what we would do is we would simply do x and minus x. How do we do it? You can read about it. Okay, this is a very fundamental thing. Please read about it in depth. But I just told you it is just 2 complement. 2's complement is equals to minus x, and it can also be tilde x plus 1. Okay, tilde x is what? X complement. Tilde x plus 1 is what? 2's complement. Okay, fair enough. Now what we would do is let's go back to the question. Okay, now we have the values. Okay, we have the values as x and y. So now what we can do is we would find that mask thing, mask of RSB. So we would just simply call it as RSB. We would find that RSB, and we also have the value as val. Okay, we all from the val we would find this RSB. Okay, now after finding out the RSB, we would check that some values, okay, some values would have that value, some values would have that value turned on. Okay, turned on, and some values would have that bit turned off. That is, some values would have this, इसमें rightmost set bit है ना, some values would have that bit set, some values would have that bit unset. And if you observe, this was the differentiating point. Okay, so set वाले में either x और y रहेगा, unset वाले में दूसरा value रहेगा. So what I am trying to say is हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, बहुत सारे, let's suppose we have a whole bag itself. Okay, we have a big whole bag. So what the whole idea is such like this: we have a whole bag where there are different vegetables. Okay, different vegetables, and we know that we have the let's suppose we have this long. Okay, we have something like brinjal, and we have something like potato. Okay, and with potato we also have tomatoes. Okay, which is like similar like potato. And brinjal, any vegetables which are of the size brinjal, like very big thing, papaya. Okay, so we know that brinjal and papaya has big size, and potato and tomato are different size. So this has big size, and this has small size, small circle size. So now what we do is we say that this size thing is a differentiating factor. So we would take all the vegetables of big size and all the vegetables of small size. So you can see that this brinjal and potato is now in different thing. That is why we saw that in this value thing, where the bit is set, it is a differentiating factor. We found out a mask, and some either x or y, one would have that set bit and one would have that unset bit. So we would find those values, do a XOR, the remaining value of one would be x, the remaining value of next one would be y, and we would get that. Am I clear with the intuition? Then we would move forward to the coding part. Just give me a quick one if I'm clear with the intuition or not. Okay. Okay. Bro, at first, how do we think that it is a bit problem? For a single answer, we can understand XOR. So basically, if you already know the properties of XOR, okay, then you can think that yes, I can do it. The next intuition is that you have already solved a problem where it is given that whether it is a simpler version of this problem. The problem is that each value has even occurrence. So there is only one element without occurrence. If you solve that problem, then there would be an intuition of this. Now let us move to the coding part of this, and this would make more sense. Okay, so I would make myself like this. Yes, this is fine. Okay. Chalo. We would make this from ARR to A because I'm a very lazy person, and we would also have something like using LL is equals to okay, so that I need to write less. Okay, so what we would do is we would first find the value. So LL val is equals to 0. We would initialize with 0, and then we would iterate over all the elements of the array itself. First, we would find that val thing. Okay, so val is equals to val zor a of I. Okay, or what you can do is simply do like this. This is also working. So now we have found out that val thing. So now val thing is processed. So the very next thing is, now we know the val, we need to find the mask of it. So long RSB, rightmost set bit mask, is equal to val and minus of val. We can do this. Now we also have the mask of it. Now we would start the iteration of all the elements. For int I is equals to 0, I is less than n, and I plus plus. Now we would have the next thing as that if the current element a of I, so we would make this in brackets, a of I and RSP is equal to value 0. So either this would have the value x. So now we would initialize x and y. So long x is equals to 0 and y is equals to 0. So at first we would save this x. X XOR is equals to a of I, because some values would have the bits that is turned off, and rest values would have bits turned off, because turn on and turn off और तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता, set unset और क्या हो सकता है, third option is not present. Okay, so y XOR is equals to a of y. So now we have XOR and y XOR. So now what we need to do is we are now have the values of x and y. Now we need to return them in the decreasing order. That means the first value should be maximum, next value should be minimum. So as we have only two values, so we really don't need to take that all elements in a vector and then sort it. Else a simpler explanation, simpler value would be, the first value would be nothing but max of x and y, and the second value would be nothing but min of x comma y. This is more simpler. Okay, we have made a wrong error to our model in the declaration. Okay, I think that this person has already used this. Okay, so we would just remove this. I think this person has used, the problem setter has used this in the backend. Okay. Now let me just compile and run and see. We have 5 and 1. Now let us just try to submit this. Okay, we have the value as 1. So now you can see that you can provide this RSB thing by any set bit, and that can be done in log base 2n, but we are doing this in big O of 1. Okay, we are doing this in big O of 1, and here we are iterating all of the elements, and in here we are just doing the XOR. This means that we are doing constant operation. Okay, we are doing constant operation. Just let me Here we are doing constant operation. This is just iterating over all the elements. So this for loop in total is doing nothing but big O of 1. Okay. So this is big of n because we are iterating all the elements, and at each point we are doing constant operation. This is just constant because we are using a formula. And then this is iterating. We are just checking, and XOR is just a matter of constant. So this is also constant. Okay, this is iterating of all the elements. That means that this is big O of n. Okay, this is again big O of n, and then this is returning. So the time complexity of this approach is big O of n. And the space complexity is constant because we are not using anything else than variables, and you can use n number of variables and that won't affect the time complexity, space complexity. Okay, now am I clear with the problem? How to get 2 from XOR? Yes, absolutely. Last के problem में थोड़ा सा tricky था. Okay, getting RSB mask in constant was nice. To be honest, I thought that I should move forward with any of the set bit. Okay, but then I thought that people who don't know, they should have a homework and they should try to have something new from this stream. Like हाँ ठीक है, भैया के stream पे आया, problem solve किया, फिर भी भैया के stream में आया तो कुछ सीख के गया. I want this. Okay. Question. The answer for the mapping large ranges to array is using coordinate compression, right? Absolutely, absolutely. Not large ranges. The suppose if we are only having a value 100 to 200, only value 100 to 200, but we can only have an array of 1 to 100. So what we can do is we can just do a coordinate compression and we can do it. Okay. रात का क्या प्लान है ब्रो? Sleep or absolutely sleep, because tomorrow is a working day for me, so I need to wake up very very early tomorrow. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Any more queries do you have? So I would be waiting for the next 30 seconds. If I don't see any query coming in, I would be just turning off the session. Fair enough. So most welcome, Rishit. So now what you can do is, if you are seeing this stream at the recorded version, or if you are here till this point of the solution, then what you can do is you can simply rate me on a scale of 1 to 10 in the comment section so that the reach of this video could be increased. Okay, sir. So sir mat bulao, bhai bulao, brother bulao, said bulao. Okay, so sir, first we find out 4, last part not understood on the coding part. Okay, first we find out 4. Okay, then we find the mask of it. Now we know that this mask, for this mask thing, some would have 0 value, some would have 1 value, and then we are differentiating that. Okay, we are taking the XOR of all of them, and the remaining one is either X or Y, and here are X. Okay. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, Adarsh. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I would really do it. Okay, fair enough. So I think that is it for today. Okay, so it might be a scenario that I might have made mistakes in the explanation. Please understand that everything is done from scratch. No PPT and all is done, and I might have told you anything wrong. So considering me as a human, we can just skip it. Thank you, everyone. Good night, everyone.